She never expects the moment you finally detach. She never sees it coming. Because she's used to you being the man who tries, the man who explains, the man who stays. But the day you stop fighting for her is the day everything shifts. And she feels it before she even understands it. That quiet distance. That shift in your tone. That calm, steady presence that no longer bends for her emotions. It hits her in a place she can't hide from, because nothing bothers a woman more than the silence of a man she thought would always chase. There comes a moment where you wake up, not suddenly but clearly. A moment where you look at everything you tolerated, everything you justified, everything you carried on your shoulders just to keep the connection alive, and you realize how much it cost you. You see how many times you ignored your own discomfort just to make her comfortable. You see how many times you softened your voice so she wouldn't feel bad, even when she cut you deeper than she will ever admit. And something in you just stops. Not out of anger. Not out of revenge. Out of clarity. This is the part she never anticipates, the man breaking his own pattern. The man choosing himself over the emotional chaos she kept pulling him into. The man she emotionally relied on suddenly choosing peace over attention. Women don't panic when a man is angry. They panic when he's calm. Because calm means he's moved on emotionally. Calm means he's done negotiating for respect. Calm means he's no longer treating her as a prize, he's treating himself as one. And that's when she begins to rewind everything. She rewinds how safe you made her feel. She rewinds the times you forgave her without asking for anything in return. She rewinds the way you listened when she cried even when you had no one to talk to yourself. She rewinds the effort you put in. She rewinds the loyalty she once thought was guaranteed. And for the first time she realizes something terrifying. Your love wasn't weak. It was rare. She remembers the man who would have done anything to keep her. She remembers the warmth she took for granted. She remembers the emotional presence she believed she'd always have access to. And now, it's gone. Not because you slammed the door, but because you stopped needing to stay near it. That's what breaks her. Not the loss of a man, but the loss of the version of you she thought would never leave her heart. A man doesn't become stronger when he gets louder. He becomes stronger when he stops explaining himself to someone who never listened. And once you taste that strength, she feels it. She feels the shift in your silence. She feels the weight of her own choices. She feels the moment she lost the man who would have given her the world. And now she knows, you're not coming back the same. You learned the hard way that being always available unclogs nothing. Constant presence became convenient, not coveted. She stopped chasing because there was nothing to chase. You discovered that attention without value is like currency anyone can counterfeit. When your time is free and endless, it loses meaning. The more you handed it out, the less it paid off. That's the brutal math of attraction most men refuse to accept. Availability disguised insecurity. You showed up early, you answered instantly, you rearranged plans for comfort. You did it because you feared losing her. It never made her want you more. It taught her to expect less and take more. Comfort becomes entitlement when it's never earned. A man who rearranges his life for someone who doesn't invest is negotiating away his dignity. Scarcity isn't a game. Scarcity is a boundary wrapped in standards. When you stop being predictable, people pause. They weigh whether they deserve your attention. That pause is not cruelty. It's accountability. You point the mirror back at her behavior without a single word. You don't nag. You make your presence meaningful again by not giving it away. There is power in selective generosity. Give when it counts. Give when reciprocation is clear. Give as a consequence of worth, not as a plea. When you reserve attention, it becomes currency. When attention costs something, it's respected. When it's free, it's wasted. You aren't playing chess, you're correcting the imbalance chasing created. People confuse withholding with manipulation. It's not. It's repair. It's the repair of a man who kept pouring into a leaking bucket. He stops pouring to patch the hole. He stops performing to preserve integrity. He refuses to be the scaffolding for someone who won't build themselves. Intention separates discipline from duplicity. If your aim is growth, discipline is honorable. This change forces clarity fast. Conversation thins. Messages shrink. Invitations become selective. You see who adjusts and who resists. Some step forward because they respect the new terms. Others complain because their attention was purchased, not earned. That difference tells you everything. When attention is earned, presence becomes weighty. Your yes matters. Your silence speaks louder than your past noise. People show up differently because they must. They rise to the standard you set or they step away. Both are wins. One brings investment. The other clears space for someone aligned. Stop confusing kindness with emptiness. Kindness without boundaries is empty. Boundaries without kindness are harsh. The point is balance. Be generous where value exists. Be reserved where value is absent. That balance keeps your center intact and builds a life that isn't dictated by someone else's inconsistency. This is how men transform availability into authority. Not by withholding out of spite, but by investing out of wisdom. Not by punishing, but by protecting. Not by playing games, but by reclaiming a life that demands respect. When you do that, attention follows terms. Energy tells the truth long before your mouth does. You can script the perfect apology and still leave a room empty if your core is frantic. People feel the timbre of you the way they feel weather. A calm man is a clear day, a frantic man is storm. Women read your inner climate the moment they meet you. They sense whether you're steady or spun out. Speech is decoration. Energy is the foundation. One sentence can soothe, consistent presence solidifies. Tone carries intentions that words try to fake. When your rhythm is steady, curiosity follows. When your pulse spikes with need, curiosity dies. You don't convince with explanations, you resonate with posture. Posture is vocabulary without grammar. Presence outperforms paragraphs. You can offer the best reasons and be ignored because your nervous system broadcasts what your logic hides. Confidence is not louder volume. It's quiet certainty that doesn't demand agreement. A man who moves from center invites trust. A man who scrambles for validation invites distance. Authentic depth is revealed by restraint. Restraint isn't emptiness, it's disciplined abundance. Reveal carefully. Reveal slowly. Let interest accumulate. A slow reveal converts curiosity into craving. Overexposure burns the bridge curiosity creates. Say less. Do more. Let your life be the testimony. When actions align with claims, credibility grows. When claims exist without action, doubt settles in. There is a gravity in consistency. You don't need to announce your value, your effect announces it. Watch how tone shifts a room more than a clever line. Watch how silence can signal strength in 5 words less than a speech. Emotional steadiness is contagious. It calms, it centers, it makes people safer. Safety breeds openness not because of logic but because of biochemistry. People drop their walls near steady presence. They flirt with you when they feel sheltered, not lectured. You are persuasive by how you stabilize, not how you rationalize. Stop trying to earn belief through verbosity. Stop trying to patch doubts with long explanations. Long speeches repair insecurity temporarily, not trust. Short, consistent behavior repairs trust permanently. Emotional regulation is the new currency. It buys attention without bargaining. It builds desire without performance. Your internal temperature determines the climate of the relationship. Manage it. Train it. Guard it. When you master your internal weather, you stop reacting to storms. You become the place other people return to. Words illuminate. Energy attracts. Make your energy the reason they come back. Make your presence the thing they remember after the talk ends. Your face, breath, and timing are silent persuasion. Move like you have options. Steady eyes, unshaking hands, a patient smile. They tell a story without sentences. Pause and watch attention focus. Control tempo and the room leans in. Make silence intentional, let it bend conversations. Practice presence like a craft. Small rituals center you. Those rituals stack into a signature people feel long after you leave. Presence wins when action matches confidence. Boundaries are the backbone of self-respect. They tell people how far they can go and what costs crossing the line will bring. You stop shrinking to make someone comfortable. You stop rearranging your life around moods. You stop apologizing for needing space. A clear limit is not a threat, it's a standard. When a man sets terms, his world organizes around that clarity. People respond to structure. If you refuse to tolerate disrespect, disrespect becomes expensive. Most men confuse flexibility with weakness. Flexibility that lacks principle becomes surrender. Standing firm is not stubbornness when it protects dignity. It is stewardship of your inner ground. Not every slight requires an answer. Boundaries are a language. They speak before you do. They are the quiet signals that change behavior without a lecture. When you stop overexplaining your limits, they start operating. You won't have to argue for standards when standards are practiced. Your consistency educates faster than your words. Setting a limit does not erase compassion. It clarifies it. You can care and still refuse manipulation. You can love and still refuse to be taken for granted. You can forgive and still insist on terms. Mercy without limits is a cheap kindness that invites repeat offense. The power of choice sits inside consequence. When you say no, you protect the possibility of yes. When you withdraw access, you test the value of connection. Some will rise to meet that expectation. Some will walk away. Both outcomes honor your integrity. One preserves the relationship by prompting responsibility. The other clears space for what actually matters. Boundaries create gravitational pull. Ironically, when you become less available, you become more magnetic. People who desire substance will step in. Those who wanted convenience will step out. That separation is not loss, it is curation. Your life becomes populated by those willing to invest. Don't confuse silence with permission. Silence without a boundary becomes tolerance. Tolerance without standards becomes erosion. Each time you ignore an overstep, you shorten the distance between yourself and resentment. Resentment corrodes attraction. A boundary prevents that corrosion. Honor your needs like obligations. Protect your time, energy, and attention as you would protect a project that matters. Schedule your life around priorities that build you up. When you guard what fuels you, you become reliably present without losing yourself in another's drama. Practice small refusals. They teach your brain how to stand. Say no to the things that fragment you. Say yes to rituals that strengthen you. Over time, those micro-decisions form a fortress around your peace. A man with clear limits is steady. He is predictable in his purpose, not his pleas. That steadiness invites trust. Trust invites intimacy. Intimacy then becomes a reward earned through respect, not a refuge scavenged through compromise. Respect is the interest paid on boundaries. Invest in them consistently and watch people meet you at a higher level. Stand firm, preserve your peace, and demand appropriate reciprocity. Silence isn't emptiness, it's a magnifying glass. When you stop filling every gap, the truth sharpens. Quiet removes the fog and reveals who shows up because they want to, not because they are comfortable. Your absence doesn't punish, it clarifies priorities. Remove the soundtrack and people either sing or fade away. You learn that explanations often make noise where clarity is needed. Talking endlessly smothers consequence. When you hold off on immediate answers, reactions arrive raw and honest. That honesty tells you more than 100 messages ever could. Let conversations breathe. Watch how posture replaces pleading. Absence makes questions louder. It forces people to scan the space you left and decide whether they miss it. Some will notice the weight of your absence and move to fill it. Others will assume the space is permanent and keep living as before. That split saves you time and spares energy. Silence is also a classroom. It teaches who values your time. It educates those who took it for granted. Not with drama, but with a visible recalibration of what you accept. Boundaries become visible in how quiet you can remain. Restraint becomes a syllabus on respect. You don't weaponize quiet, you use it as calibration. A deliberate pause tests reciprocity. It shows whether someone will pursue thoughtfully or only react from habit. Their response, or lack of it, is a map. Read it. The map guides where you invest next. There's dignity in stepping back. It signals that your emotions aren't negotiable currency. When you step away without theatrics, you preserve composure and force evaluation. That is not aloofness. It is selective engagement. It filters out convenience and prizes intention. Let silence reveal what words conceal. People often disguise selfishness with charm. Without your constant filling, charm has to be backed by action. If behavior contradicts claim, allow the quiet to expose it. Patterns matter more than promises. Patterns reveal devotion. Promises rarely do. When you withdraw, don't chase the explanation. Explanations without change are excuses. What you want is alignment between speech and conduct. The pause makes that alignment visible. When a person cares enough, they will change the pattern. If they don't, their words mean less than you thought. Silence increases savoring. Absence inflates appreciation. When your attention becomes a gift rather than default, its return is sweeter. That appreciation isn't manufactured, it is earned. People start collecting reasons to show up instead of reasons to ignore you. Use quiet to preserve your internal economy. Energy is finite, spend it where reciprocation exists. Save yourself from habit love and invest in earned investment. That discipline builds integrity and attracts partners who match your standard. Practice silence like a skill. Make short withdrawals to test truth. Notice who grows curious versus who stays comfortable. Let the quiet guide your choices. The results will be both freeing and clarifying. In the end, quiet separates the needy from the worthy and steady. When your life has direction, attraction follows like gravity. Building something larger than a relationship requires desire. Purpose fills hours, so attention isn't the focal point of your identity. A man with work to do can't be owned by someone else's moods. Daily projects become proof of who you are, not excuses for avoidance. Ambition sharpens standards because you have less tolerance for distraction. Your calendar becomes a gatekeeper, not an invitation to chaos. When you guard your schedule, you guard your self-respect. Growth demands routines that defend your peace and expand your capacity. Hobbies, goals, health, and craft are visible evidence of value. They announce you before you speak and sustain you when words fail. Make momentum the backdrop of your life, not the noise that hides it. A focused life reveals priorities without explanations. People sense the difference between a man who drifts and a man who directs. When you pursue mastery, you become harder to possess and easier to admire. Your intensity signals that you are not available by default. That unavailability is honest, not performative. You refuse to let romantic attention reorganize your world. Instead, you invite integration where lives genuinely align. High standards emerge naturally when you build a life that demands excellence. They aren't lists of rules. They are byproducts of progress. As you progress, the circle around you tightens to those who add to the mission. Distractions fall away because they don't belong in a purposeful orbit. That curation is an act of love toward yourself. It preserves the resources necessary for real contribution. Women are drawn to construction, not consumption. They admire men who create frameworks others can enter respectfully. When your days are full, your presence acquires consequence. Invitations to your time become choices, not defaults. People treat your offers with more care when they are scarce. Scarcity rooted in substance produces urgency rather than manipulation. You don't fake busyness to appear valuable, you cultivate it to be valuable. Ambition is magnetic because it promises growth, not neediness. A driven man signals future, not fallback. That future compels investment from those who can match it. Couples who thrive share forward movement, not static dependency. They co-build rather than co-drift. Partner with people who commission your growth, not siphon it. Make your vocation a mirror for your values. Let your achievements be the vocabulary of your worth. When you build relentless forward motion, you stop begging for relevance. Instead, relevance seeks you. Your life's trajectory becomes the standard others must meet if they want access. And once your path is clear, choosing a companion is a choice of alignment, not rescue. Whoever steps into your world should add velocity, not drag it down. Keep moving. Let the right people jog to catch up. Stay occupied with meaning. The man who builds becomes the anchor others choose to tie themselves to, not the shelter they take for granted. Be relentless, selective, and free. They prod to see if you crack. Tests are experiments disguised as chaos. They aren't always malicious, sometimes they're curiosity in disguise. A test asks one question: will you bend or stand? Most men bend because bending is easier than truth. Bending buys temporary peace and long-term loss. A man who stands costs the other their certainty. Uncertainty is where desire begins. Tests expose resolve. They show whether your values hold under pressure. When she pushes boundaries, she's checking your center. Reacting proves dependence. Responding with calm proves control. Drama demands answers. Tests demand posture. Drama wants a reaction to feed on. Tests want evidence of backbone. You don't have to fix every storm. Sometimes presence alone is the solution. If she escalates, remain contained. Containment is leadership by example. Do not confuse strength with stubbornness. Do not confuse silence with surrender. Answer what aligns with your standard. Let trivial things pass like tide. Confront what consistently violates your terms. A single pattern matters more than 1,000 good excuses. Patterns are the architecture of character. When tests repeat, patterns emerge. Read them before you defend yourself. Defending often looks like begging. Begging erodes dignity brick by brick. Instead, pause and assess. Ask yourself what this behavior reveals about future risk. Decide from courage, not from fear. If the test uncovers immaturity, treat it as data. Data informs boundaries, not arguments. Boundaries recalibrate the relationship's thermostat. A recalibration can either heal or end things cleanly. Both outcomes honor you. Tests also reveal compatibility. Some people need to be led gently, others need to be met firmly. Your response should match the history, not the heat of the moment. When she watches your calm, admiration grows silently. Admiration is the currency of sustained desire. Do not mistake compliance for care. Compliance is convenience pretending to be commitment. Care is shown through consistent investment, not crisis theatrics. When tests come, show steadiness first, clarity second. Steadiness soothes. Clarity corrects. If correction requires withdrawal, so be it. Withdrawal is not punishment, it's consequence. Consequence teaches faster than lectures. People respect rules that are enforced fairly. Tests misfire when you weaponize them back. Don't trap someone to prove a point. Trapless honesty attracts responsible partners. Keep your internal rules visible through behavior, not threats. Lead with expectant calm. Make your decisions quietly and follow them loudly. Let results do the talking after you choose. When tests end, let the aftermath be a measure of change or exit. If change comes, reward it with presence. If it doesn't, protect your life by moving on. Testing is a filter, not a battlefield. Learn to read it, answer it, and let it teach you who belongs in your future. This is the end of the arc where everything becomes steady. You stop reacting and start selecting. You stop being a headline in someone else's day and become the foundation of your own story. Choosing yourself is not refusing love. It is refusing to lose the shape of your life to another's demands. When you honor priorities, choices gain gravity. Your yes becomes commitment. Your no becomes clear boundary. People orient to the rules you set, not the excuses you tolerate. That shift is self-education. Decisions from value, not fear. When your life leads, relationships follow your map. You don't chase approval. You test for alignment. You don't repair what repeatedly harms your center. You correct course. Choosing yourself reduces dependency and increases intention. You meet people from your mission, not your need. You give to contribute, not to be validated. This is not coldness. It is refinement. Compassion and toughness coexist. You can be warm without being vulnerable to sabotage. You can hold someone close while holding standards. Choosing yourself protects your capacity to give. It does not hoard love. It means using energy so your offers have weight and lasting effect. Men who practice this stop trading worth in small increments. They stop hollow apologies that smooth friction without change. They stop answering frantic messages that demand instant reassurance and start answering the life that requires their focus. They stop shrinking in conflict and start presenting solutions grounded in principle. They stop canceling plans for temporary relief. This forms an inner loop of integrity that becomes habit. As your internal economy strengthens, your external life fills with less noise and more meaning. Friends, partners, projects assemble where contribution is mutual. You stop rehearsing affection and invest in realities that compound. This magnetism isn't engineered, it's the product of steady boundaries and honest priorities. People are attracted to men who carry unforced purpose. When you select from abundance, relationships become durable. They are not fragile transactions that break under pressure. They're partnerships that add momentum, not weight. They honor commitments because those commitments were chosen, not imposed. That mutuality breeds trust. Walking away becomes an option you hold, not a weapon you flash. You keep doors open for worth and close quietly on drains. That freedom is luxury, it's a life you build and protect. It distinguishes living to be chosen from living to choose. Choosing yourself is the deepest respect you offer anyone. It means you show up fully or you don't show up at all. It means your love is deliberate, not accidental. Because your choices are intentional, they ask others to bring their best. The man who respects himself becomes the man others aspire to keep. He is steady, selective, whole. Your presence grows heavier, not louder. People feel the difference in the way you move through days. That weight commands care without begging for it. Live that way and you become unavoidable in the sense. If this hit you in the chest, subscribe. You're exactly the man these truths were meant for.